welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the absolute magic of 3D printing. We're going to see exactly how a mere digital idea, something that just exists as pixels on a computer screen, seamlessly becomes a physical, tangible reality right in front of your eyes. It is a fascinating journey, and I am so excited to guide you through it. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The additive revolution. 2. From screen to reality. 3. FDM, SLA, and beyond. 4. Printing the impossible. And finally, 5. The future of fabrication. All right, let's jump into Section 1, the additive revolution, redefining how we make things. Now, the absolutely crucial concept to grasp here is the word additive. For literally centuries, manufacturing was mostly about taking things away. But here, instead of starting with a massive block of material and carving it down, we're building objects from absolutely nothing. The machine simply reads a digital file and deposits material layer by microscopic layer until the final object emerges. Think about the stark contrast here. Traditional subtractive manufacturing, like milling or carving, is inherently wasteful, right? Because you're tossing out all the material you don't need, and you have to rely heavily on really expensive, specific factory tooling. Additive manufacturing, on the other hand, uses only the exact amount of material it needs. It drastically reduces waste and gives you infinite digital flexibility. If you want to change a design, you don't have to build a whole new factory tool. You just update the file. This basically means faster innovation and way cheaper products for all of us. And it is honestly wild to think about how fast this all happened. Well, actually, maybe it's wild to think about when it started. Chuck Hull invented the very first photopolymer concept way back in 1984. From there, Scott Crump invented the classic filament method, FDM, just a few years later in 1989. Then you fast forward through the open source desktop boom of the 2005 RepRap project all the way to today, where we're seeing massive critical adoption in the medical and aerospace fields. The pace of this innovation is just stunning. Moving right along to Section 2, from screen to reality, the journey of an idea. So how does it actually work? Well, it's an incredible journey. You always start with a CAD design, basically sketching out your object in 3D software. That digital idea is then sent to a slicing program, which generates the exact instructions. Next, the printer heats up and the magic happens. It prints it out, layer by layer, almost like laying bricks for a house. Finally, a little finishing work, like sanding or UV curing, makes it absolutely perfect. I really want to zoom in on that second step for a second, because the slicer is basically the invisible brain behind the entire operation. Think of slicing a 3D model exactly like slicing a loaf of bread to see its internal structure. The software cuts the digital 3D model into thousands of flat 2D layers. It then translates those layers into what's called G-code, and G-code is essentially the sheet music that tells the 3D printer instrument exactly how to play the piece, dictating the temperatures, the travel speeds, and exactly where to deposit the material. Okay, Section 3, FDM, SLA, and beyond. Let's decode that alphabet soup. Let's break down these acronyms. First up, we've got FDM, which stands for Fused Deposition Modeling. This melts plastic filament through a hot nozzle and is absolutely perfect for rapid prototyping and your standard desktop printing. Next is SLA, or stereolithography. Now this one uses lasers to cure liquid resin into solid plastic. And because it uses light, it achieves extreme detail, making it the go-to for things like jewelry, dental aligners, and highly detailed miniatures. Finally, there's SLS, selective laser sintering. This uses high-powered lasers to fuse polymer powder together, creating incredibly strong parts for heavy-duty industrial manufacturing, all without even needing support structures. And listen, we are not just talking about cheap plastic trinkets anymore, not even close. These machines can print with an unbelievable range of materials now. We're talking about plastics blended with actual wood and carbon fiber for extra strength. We've got specialized engineering resins, metal powders like aerospace-grade titanium and aluminum, and, get this, massive extruders pumping out literal liquid concrete. The material science is keeping pace with the hardware, and that is what's truly driving this whole industry forward. Which brings us to Section 4, Printing the Impossible, Real-World Applications. I kind of want to slow down here for a minute, because the impact 3D printing is having on medicine is nothing short of revolutionary. We are completely moving away from mass-produced, one-size-fits-all medical devices and jumping directly into an era of truly personalized healthcare. Imagine needing a medical device, and instead of just getting a generic size off a hospital shelf, it's printed to fit your exact, unique body perfectly. The breakthroughs happening right now are incredible. Doctors are printing custom-fit prosthetics tailored to a patient's exact anatomy. Dental aligners and hearing aids are being mass-customized every single day. We're even printing complex titanium bone implants that integrate perfectly with the patient's existing cellular structure. And honestly, most mind-blowing of all, researchers are actively pushing the boundaries of bioprinting, meaning they're extruding living cells to create artificial organs and tissues. It is truly awe-inspiring stuff. Now contrast that microscopic cellular level with massive macro-scale engineering. We're simultaneously using giant gantry printers to literally build the world around us. We're constructing affordable concrete houses in a fraction of the time it takes traditional builders. We're printing entire bridges. Automotive companies are printing custom manufacturing tooling on demand, and aerospace engineers, they're fabricating incredibly complex, lightweight titanium components to launch the next generation of space exploration. And in a super fun twist, it's popping up everywhere you'd least expect it. High-end art, intricate movie props, custom sneakers, elaborate cosplay. But my personal favorite? The culinary world. Yep, using food-safe extruders, you can literally 3D print chocolate, intricately textured plant-based meats, or even your next slice of pizza. Talk about downloading a snack, right? The flexibility of this tech really knows absolutely no bounds. All right, last stop, Section 5. The future of fabrication. Where do we go from here? We're looking at a frontier filled with concepts that honestly sound like they're straight out of a science fiction movie. We are seeing AI-assisted generative design, where computers optimize structures to be lighter and stronger than anything a human could manually draft up. We're entering the realm of 4D printing. Yeah, 4D, where printed objects can actually change shape over time. Just imagine a flat-packed pipe that naturally curls itself into a cylinder the second it touches water. And as we look up at the stars, space manufacturing is becoming a very real thing, with actual plans to deploy giant 3D printers that use lunar dust to autonomously construct habitats and bases on the Moon and Mars. I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. We are rapidly approaching a world where you can simply click download and print a house, a custom artificial organ, or a rocket engine. So when physical supply chains, giant shipping containers, and massive warehouses are increasingly replaced by instant digital file transfers and local community printers, how will 3D printing ultimately reshape the entire economic and physical future of human civilization? It's a pretty massive question to ponder the next time you order something online. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.